Is this on? It is on. Good morning, everyone. I'll give you a second to just kind of settle in. Welcome you to day 2 of Parents and Family Weekend. I'm Gina DeSalvo, the director of Tufts Parents Giving Program, your hosts for this weekend. I am so thrilled to see so many of you here again this year, hearing from so many families who are juniors and seniors, and sadly saying this might be their last one, but you're always welcome to come back. You're once a jumbo parent, always a jumbo parent. So please always know that your door is always open to us, and welcome to the first years and the sophomores. We have a great day planned for you today, an incredible keynote. If you haven't had an opportunity to go across and pick up your badges for the weekend, the schedule will be on for the rest of the afternoon, as well as the jumbo scavenger hunt, which I've been hearing has been a blast for a lot of families. It's a great way, too, parents, to have your kids hang out with you, if that's what you're looking for. They can show you all around campus. So without further ado, I am going to turn the stage over to our wonderful Parents Leadership Council co-chair, Lisa Harkness.
Thanks, Gina. Good morning, jumbos. Good morning. Welcome to Parents and Family Weekend. My name is Lisa Harkness, and I should be standing here with my husband, Tim, but unfortunately work travel got in the way, and he's landing at Logan at 11:30. So you'll see us together later at the football game. It has been our honor to chair the Tufts Parents Leadership Council for the past 4 years. The Parents Leadership Council partners with Gina's group, the Tufts Parents Giving Program, to enrich the student experience and drive engagement from all of us with our time and our philanthropy. And I just want to take a second to thank Gina and her entire staff for this weekend. Thank you. Not only is the program fantastic, but the weather is also fantastic, so you have a lot of power. Our journey, my husband and my journey with Tufts began when our oldest daughter arrived here in 2017, which feels like yesterday, and we were sitting where you're sitting, thinking, what are the next 4 years going to look like? And will she have a great time? Will she learn? And I can tell you, Tufts did not disappoint. It was a great journey for her, and that our youngest daughter is also here now. She's going to be a senior this year. And we find ourselves reflecting on how quickly the time passes. So I would say to all of you, enjoy every second. Go on that scavenger hunt. Breathe in the experience. Learn about what Tufts has and really smile for your kids. It's just hard to believe that this is our final year. But I will say that the relationships we've built with other parents, the memories we've made, and the pride we feel in being part of this incredible community has been truly meaningful, and I will say it's a little bittersweet. So I'm thrilled that Gina's going to let me come back next year. So as you enjoy the incredibly inspiring faculty presentations, the musical and performance groups, which are amazing, and the talented student-athlete competitions throughout the weekend, we hope you'll be reminded, as we are, of what makes Tufts so special and why we choose to support it with our time and philanthropy. So before we begin, a couple of housekeeping items. You all know this. Please silence your cell phones. It's nice to have an hour with no cell phones. And take a moment to locate the exits in the front and the back, just in case. So I am now pleased to introduce President Sunil Kumar, the 14th president of Tufts University, as our next speaker. Sunil joined Tufts in July of 2023, and he also serves as a professor in the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering. At Tufts, his priorities are our kids. He is focused on achieving the best possible outcomes for all Tufts students and ensuring that the university provides an experience that enables all graduates to become responsible leaders in our society, regardless of their chosen careers. He is focused on improving access at Tufts for non-traditional students, investing in faculty recruitment and retention, enhancing the research enterprise, and ensuring that civic engagement remains a key aspect of the Tufts experience, among many other priorities. Please welcome President Sunil Kumar.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining. Last year, we did a town hall where I took questions, and I seem to have given sufficient offense with my answers that I've been prohibited from doing that again. Unfortunately, as the saying goes, possession is 9/10 of the law, and I have the podium. I don't intend to give offense, but I thought rather than do a kind of laundry list of things we are doing and will do, etc., I talk about fall, autumn. Today is a beautiful autumn day. It's perfect temperature. I wish the year round it would be this temperature. I grew up in southern India. It's not this temperature in southern India. And I was reflecting on, my wife and I have been on campus now for 2.5 years, and we've been associated with Tufts closer to 3. And I was reflecting on my happiest day, in some sense, over the past 3 years. And it was last January. We didn't have much of a winter last year, and we went up to Mount Washington. Mount Washington is not very high, it's about 6,000 feet, but it can have bad weather. But we had a near perfect day. It was blue sky, deep, fresh snow, and 5 below, which for Mount Washington counts as warm. For those of you on the metric system, 5 below translates to about -20 Celsius. It's the happiest I've ever been. And of course, you could chalk it up to my personal perversity. That's entirely acceptable. But it's because of a different thing, which is, for me, it's very easy to classify points in time in your life and the life of your student as these are good times and these are bad times. It's a mistake to do that. It's a mistake to somehow think of today as being bad times. Today is simply time. It's a time for people to be happy and to enjoy the best they can. Not every day will be that way. But when I hear a 19-year-old tell me, what do I have to be happy about? Well, the list is long, and how much time do you have? And believe me, when you're at my end, where you're worried more about your obituary than your resume, that list, you realize, is even longer. And so where am I going with all this? The reason I was forbidden from doing a town hall is I tend to give advice to parents despite having no children of my own. I intend to give you advice. Let your student experience winter. Let your student go to Mount Washington. Let them risk being uncomfortable. You've got their back. Tufts has got their back. Don't shield them from winter. That's all the advice I'll give you. And in New England, winter is to be enjoyed. If you come back in January, which I strongly recommend, if President's Lawn is covered in snow, our students and the neighborhood kids will be sledding down it. It's one of the most joyous sights on campus. So please encourage your student to take joy in every day and to learn and have a positive outlook. Tufts is a happy place, and we'd like to keep it that way. Now, this seems to absolve me of any responsibility whatsoever in your... And I'm told that's not possible. I'm contractually obligated to take care of the kids. We will continue to invest. Our ambition, which is to educate responsible leaders, has not diminished one bit in the last year, the last decade, and it will not diminish going forward. We will continue to invest in our students. The announcement that you saw that we will go tuition-free for families making $150,000 or less is an example of that commitment. Thank you. The investment in a new residence hall, which will have over 650 beds on campus, to bring our students back, to build a more cohesive community, Blakely Hall, which just opened, and in fact, very soon, we hope Blakely Hall, all the showers would work as well. No, I'm kidding, I'm kidding. We are also making, and you'll hear more from our outstanding Dean of Arts and Sciences in just a little bit about the investments we are making on the co-curricular side, a substantial investment in career services, in advising, in ensuring what we are calling student success for all our students, regardless of whether they come from Ghana and Philippines. I think there are parents in the room from Ghana and Philippines, or from, Quincy and Boston. In terms of travel time, they're roughly the same, if you're used to Boston traffic. And we want every one of our students to have every opportunity to succeed, and we will do our absolute very best to do that. We will also invest in adapting and improving our curriculum. You'll probably hear more, because that is the topic of conversation from our dean, who will talk about learning environments in today's day and age. And so I won't steal her thunder. And so I just want to leave you with this. Yesterday I gave a talk to one of the advisory boards, and the chair of the board dismissed me as relentlessly optimistic. Well, it's too bad Hindus are not buried, because I would have loved to have that on my epitaph as relentlessly optimistic. I'm relentlessly optimistic because of the students we have and their parents. So thank you again for joining us. And now it's my pleasure to introduce our Dean of Arts and Sciences, Barbara Brizuela. She has been at Tufts for a long time and is a professor in the Department of Education, where she studies math education, early childhood education, and cognitive development. She was previously the Dean of the Graduate School, and she's been an outstanding Dean of Arts and Sciences. She holds a doctorate from Harvard, but then nobody's perfect, and an MA from Tufts, and grew up in Buenos Aires, Argentina. So please join me in welcoming Dean Brizuela. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Good morning. You can hear me, right? Something happened. My screen. There. Nope, not that one. Okay, it'll come up. So thank you for coming. I was afraid maybe the room may be empty or not full, so this is exciting to speak to you all here today. And I also know that this will live in perpetuity, because I did check other keynote presentations from prior years. As President Kumar mentioned, I've been at Tufts for quite a while. This is my 25th year at Tufts as a faculty member in the education department. But my time at Tufts dates back to January 1995. So when I arrived as a master's student. And I have a few goals in mind for us this morning. The first one is for you to get to know me better as a person, as a scholar, as a teacher. And I think that's really important. You have trusted us with your children's education, and I want you to get a better sense of the person who's leading the school and trying to support our faculty and our staff as we think about your children's education. And then my other goal is, of course, to tell you about some of the activities that have been going on in the school. So I really thought a lot about the title, and you'll, I hopefully get to understand a little better why. In my research, I design learning environments. That's what I do as a scholar. And how we can identify strengths in our faculty, our students, again, is what I do in my scholarship. I have a couple fun videos, hopefully, to share with you that will give you a sense of how I do that. So a little bit about my life story. Sunil mentioned that I grew up in Buenos Aires, Argentina, but in my first, I have to write this and I've had to like map it out for myself. My first 12 years of life, I attended 7 different schools. I lived in 8 different homes, and I moved from one country to another 5 times. And I'm sharing that with you so that you get to know me a little better. What has this resulted in, I think? I can talk to anyone. I've had to do that. I've moved schools so many times. I had to make new friends halfway through a school year, from one year to the next. And I adapt very easily to new situations. So when, I haven't done the same with my own children, and I will tell you a little bit about them too. I'm also a mom. They went to the same school throughout their life, but when parents come to me and talk about changes and moves, I really try to lean on the capacity that it can bring to our young people and our students, which I saw in myself. I share a lot of things with Sunil. Among them, I'm also a perennial optimist. So I lean on the positive things of the changes in my life. Just a couple family pictures, which I love to share. So we moved around a lot, all over Latin America. I'll tell you a little bit more about that. That's me right there with my mom and my sisters in Rio de Janeiro, because we lived in South America. We got to visit other countries as well. I lived in Venezuela for 5 years. I hope you'll recognize me. That's me and my little sister, I just came back from her wedding. She just got married. I love how a lot of our childhood pictures, I'm like holding her or embracing her. So there we are, the 3 of us. So a little bit about my life story. Between my first 5 years of life, you can see I'm very transparent. I'm telling you exactly how old I am. I lived in Baltimore, Buenos Aires, also Quito, Ecuador. From 75 to 80, I lived in Caracas, Venezuela. I just showed you that picture. 1980, my family moved back to Buenos Aires. Just to locate you, historically, 1982, Malvinas War. Some people call it the Falklands War. We call it the Malvinas War. And in 1983 was the first democratic government post-dictatorship in Argentina. So I completed my university studies in Buenos Aires. And while I was going to school at night, I also taught preschool and kindergarten. So my first professional career has been as a classroom teacher, K to 12. I moved to Córdoba in 1993, Córdoba, Argentina. There's many Córdobas. And then I also taught middle school, and I was a school psychologist for a couple years there. Then I moved to Medford in December of 94, and I started my master's degree in January of 95. This is my current ID. I was 24 in that picture. And for some reason, actually it has the wrong title. It's like my title like two titles ago. But they keep my 24-year-old picture there, which I think is pretty funny. My daughter looks just like me. So I've been at Tufts for 30 years if you count my time as a student and as a faculty member. As Sunil said, I did go to Harvard for 5 years for my doctoral degree, but I stayed connected at Tufts through research. These are my kids, my 2 daughters, Azul and Sofia. And this is during my Fulbright. I had a Fulbright in Argentina in 2009. And You haven't been to Argentina, I encourage it. And this is in Bariloche, Patagonia, which is beautiful. And we spent the 3 months of my Fulbright scholarship there. This is my family. We're fans of football or soccer. This is my dog, my husband, all rooting for Argentina at different soccer tournaments. So a little bit about my research, and I think this is really important for you to understand what I do in my research, what I study in my research, because I see a lot of connections with how I approach my job as Dean of the School of Arts and Sciences. So what I do in my research is I design learning environments. So I design the tasks, the questions, the context, representations, sequence of activities, and then I study how children learn in those environments. And I'll show you a couple examples today. What I do is I investigate what aspects of the learning environments are associated with changes in how children think and do mathematics. So I'm going to show 2 examples. One dates to my time as a master's student at Tufts. So this is the first paper I published, 1997, and I wrote the first draft of this paper as a master's student here at Tufts in an independent study with my faculty mentor, who is still my mentor all these years later. And I consider a family friend, and those are the kinds of relationships that we hope every single one of your children has with at least one faculty member during their time at Tufts. So this is the first paper that I published, and I'm going to show you a very short 1-minute video that is the crux and the data for this paper. I was 24. I was thinking of that this morning when I interviewed Paula, a 5-year-old kindergarten student. And this then became part of what inspired my doctoral dissertation, where I studied how children come to understand and learn about the written number system. And here, what I was trying to explore is how do children come to understand if they see a 2-digit number exactly what it means, how to say it, and what it represents. So you'll see a little snippet of how this conversation evolved with Paula.
And why don't you try to imagine what number could this one be?
31.
Which one could it be?
48.
You're right, Paula. That number is 48. How did you know?
Because I was doing like this. I was thinking in my mind, and I was doing like this. What if you write another number here? Like, do another number.
Okay.
I was thinking like this. 46.
How do you think like that?
I just know in my mind.
Can you teach me how to do that so I know how to do that also?
Yeah, just.
How do you know what sound it is? Like what to say?
Because I just know that it's first I say a 4 and then I say a 6 and then I say 46.
Can I write another number?
Now think of it.
Yeah. So you can teach me how to do that.
this one's a little different.
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe I can help you.
I say 300. I'm really trying to. 3, 1.
What number could that be? Oh, do you remember how old your mother was?
34.
Do you know how to write her age? So she's 34. And do you read that 3-4? How do you read that? How do you say that number?
Like this. You say first, you pick up a 3, and you put a letter, but instead of capital, a capital number, and then it's 34.
So this one, what number could this one be?
31.
Yeah, so that's Paula. Paula actually just got married this summer. I was with her. That's how old I am. So much happening in the video, but just some things to highlight. You can see in those interactions with her how I'm trying to identify what we call the resources in her thinking. What can we build on that can help her construct new understandings? And that's why I knew she knew her mom's age, and I knew she knew how to write it. And I really leaned on that for her to develop this new understanding. But I'm not sure if you caught, well, first of all, the title of the paper, A Story About Capital Numbers, and then her reference to capital letters and capital numbers. She made that up on the spot as a construct to help her develop an understanding that this is a 3, but it's not a 3, it's something different. So that's why I call it 40. That's why I call it 30, and so on. And she built this theory for herself that helped her advance her understanding and her interpretation of numbers. So this is just one example of how, when I'm thinking about students' learning and students' education, we're always trying to build environments where we're striving for students to thrive and building on the strengths and interests that they already bring into the classroom. So, another example, I'm going to show another short video from more recent work. This led to this study was funded by National Science Foundation. National Science Foundation has been funding my work for the last 27 years. And these are just 2 papers that resulted from this work. And I just wanted to highlight that among the co-authors, Ashley was one of my master's students, and Katie was one of my PhD students. And this is something very common at Tufts, that undergraduate students, master's students, and obviously doctoral students are co-authors with their faculty PIs. So this, I have a little math for you to do. I hope that's okay with you. I'm going to show you a little snippet of a video where the task that we've been working on, this is a classroom of first graders, has been working on this task. Janice and Keisha are sisters, and Keisha is 3 years older than Janice. So to the audience, any ideas for how you might represent the relationship between Janice and Keisha's ages? Any thoughts? Just holler. What was that? J plus 3. Other ideas? K minus 3. So yeah, what would be a function y equals x plus 3. And what you will see is the classroom discussion with the first graders that I led. Again, what we do in our research is we design learning environments, usually longitudinal, sometimes 2 months long, sometimes 3 years long, where we're trying to elicit students' thinking and observe how that thinking evolves over time. So this is the second video, and I've just presented the task, and students are sharing their ideas. Okay. So I had the last challenge is the one about the variable. What if Janice is J years old? Because I never told you how old Janice is. What if Janice is J years old? What should we put right next to it? If Janice is J, how old is Keisha? Put your hand up if you have an idea that you want to share. Giovanni. Okay, what can you explain your idea?
There's up there J and K.
Oh, J and K. Okay, another idea, different idea from this one. Nelia. M. Okay, so Nelia is saying she has to be M. Why does she have to be M, Nelia? No, I don't want you shouting out no, because it interrupts Nelia's thinking. But you can shake your head, okay? Why? What were you thinking, Nelia? So what did you do to J to get to M? What did you do to J to get to M? On how many? 3. Another idea? Any other idea for a different way of showing it? What should I put right there? There is K as an idea, M as an idea. So, oh, sorry, it's going back. Yeah, I would watch it all day as well. This is a kind of thing we do in our research where I hope you observe me being non-judgmental about the kinds of ideas that are being elicited. But we had Giovanni say that if Janice is J, Keisha is K, these are kinds of understandings that you actually observe among adolescents if variables are first introduced to children as adolescents, as middle schoolers, which is very frequent. We had Nelia saying that if Janice is J, Keisha is M, and she says we count on 3. She was pointing to the alphabet at the top of the classroom and saying if you count 3 on, it has to be M. Again, this is an idea that is frequently documented among much older students. And then we didn't get to see these other 2 because I wanted to make sure that I was on time in my keynote. But there were other ideas that were elicited. One of the things that our research builds on is trying to debunk the kind of deficit perspective towards children's and students' education, children's education in general, where the thought is that variables are too complex or abstract for students, and that is why we have delayed algebra education to the middle school or high school. And what we find is that the earlier that we introduce some of these ideas so that students can grapple with them, the easier it is for them to handle. If you think about learning a second language, would you wait? Would you wait until middle school or high school to teach a second language? No. The earlier you start, the better. Again, what we do is design these environments and then draw conclusions about what kinds of environments allow students to show their thinking and grow and learn mathematically. This is an example of what I was writing on when you couldn't see me in the back. We always have several cameras up there documenting the students and then myself as well. So this is another example I want to share with you also from my research from a current undergraduate student. So Nathan is now a sophomore. No, he is a junior right now here at Tufts. At the end of his freshman year, Nathan participated in a summer program working for 10 weeks. These are opportunities that our undergraduate students have where they receive a stipend, we pay for their housing and their meals, and they get to do research with a team, with a PI. So at the end of the summer, this is Nathan at the poster session. He was very worried about whether or not he should wear a suit and what kind of shoes to wear. So he presented his research in August 2024 as he was finishing up his freshman year. And that fall, he reached out to me and he said, I'd like to develop my poster and write it up as a paper and send it to a conference. So I was like, okay, let's do that. And he did, and it was accepted. And this is an international conference that is highly selective. And the way it's structured, you submit to a working group and you're supposed to go and then meet with a small set of other researchers, very senior, international, who are come prepared to discuss your paper, and you need to come prepared to discuss theirs. So I was like, okay, Nathan is 19, and this conference is in Italy, and he is not yet sure what his major is going to be. So I convinced, it was, look at that, not hard to convince, right? But I convinced Susie, who is a researcher who works on my team, to go with Nathan to Bolzano, Italy, to present at this very prestigious conference. Our NSF project was able to support Nathan's travel there, and then Nathan's paper was published. So this is a kind of environment and experiences that we are always trying to create for students at Tufts. And Nathan is just one example. So you might be asking yourselves, okay, this is all very cute and nice, capital letters, capital numbers, all this ideas about variables. How does this all connect to my job as dean? I think I might be the first A&S dean who actually has a background in education and who spends their life thinking about how does learning, theories of learning, theories of teaching, how do we, again, as I said before, how do we design learning environments? And is Kyung here, or are there engineers here in the room? There is Kyung. So Kyung Lee is the Dean of Engineering, and one of the reasons I think, Kyung, that you and I get along so well, I mean, my dad is an engineer, I've always said this to you, but the background of the kind of research that I do is called design-based research. And it's inspired by work in engineering design and in architectural design, where you design something and then you observe the impacts of that environment or that tool. And yeah, that's one of the reasons I think, Kyung, that you and I get along so well. I'm first going to share with you some examples of what we try to do to create learning environments in which our faculty can thrive, and then I'll share some examples about students as well. And I'll highlight some examples of specific faculty. I know your phones are with the sound off, but pull out your phones because I have a lot of QR codes for you to do a follow-up reading on some of our amazing faculty. So this is the first faculty member I'd like to highlight. I was telling some of you at breakfast about her. She is Zareen Makanda. She is an anthropologist, and she also has an appointment in the biology department. If you scan that QR code, it will take you to a Tufts Now story. You'll get to watch videos of her work at the Kibali Chimpanzee Project in Uganda, where she actually takes students every summer to work with her there. And she publishes, anthropology is an undergraduate-only department, So she publishes mostly with undergraduate students. She does get to recruit graduate students through the biology department. The video that you'll be able to watch if you scan that QR code is about the interactions between mothers and baby chimpanzees. It's fascinating. And she uses her learning of those interactions to draw some conclusions and connections about interactions between human moms and babies. So we're constantly trying to think about how to better support faculty like Zareen, especially because she is so supportive of students engaging in her own research. Another example, Randy Rochin, she just started this September in the biology department. She is one of our own. She's a jumbo just like me. She got her PhD in the biology department and then spent a couple decades at BU as a researcher. Her research is amazing. She is funded not only by federal agencies, but also by private philanthropy foundations. She's worked at the Museum of Science. Her research on ocean conservation is really public-facing, and she tries really hard to make sure that her research isn't only for other academics. And we just set her up with a new lab, and I hope that next time I'm invited, I have a QR code for videos of her scuba diving and documenting some of the beautiful ocean. You can see her there with a coral. Ira Kaspari, I hired I've been at Tufts long enough that I've hired a lot of these faculty. So I actually hired Ira Kaspari, who has an appointment in both chemistry and education. She studies how, someone turned the volume on, and that's okay. She studies how undergraduate students learn chemistry in introductory chemistry courses to improve the way that we teach chemistry to our students. And she publishes with undergraduate and graduate students in chemistry and in education. She's one of my colleagues. Cristobal Sea at the School of the Museum of Fine Arts. If you scan that QR code, you'll see a Vimeo video of that installation. Actually, it's an animation at a museum. And I was speaking earlier at breakfast and last night as well during the reception about how our students are able to go across both campuses, take classes in studio art, and we're really proud of those opportunities for our students. I just had lunch with Cristobal yesterday. He is a fellow South American. He's from Chile, so we do not talk about soccer. Susan Napier, I think Susan is giving one of the talks today. I always try to talk about Susan. She is, how many of you have watched Miyazaki films? Totoro, Spirited Away. She is the #1 expert in the world on Hayao Miyazaki. And there is a Tufts Now story about how she teaches about that. And she's just absolutely fantastic. This is one of her more recent books. And then I think this is the last faculty member. Oh no, I have a couple more. Maurice Parent. He is a professor of the practice here in the department that lives in this building, Theater, Dance, and Performance Studies. Maurice is an actor, a singer, a dancer. He runs the Front Porch Arts Collective. He is absolutely fantastic. And this is a type of faculty appointment that we've leaned on more and more, professors of the practice. So artists, economists, actors who can come here, biologists, people in biotech who can come here and teach our students very current skills, and then are also great at finding those internship or experiential learning opportunities for our students. And then Caleb Scoville, who I also hired in sociology, and Caleb studies the politics of environmental knowledge and the dynamics of environmental controversies. Again, there's a Tufts Now story there for you to read afterwards. We have about 700 faculty in arts and sciences, so choosing, you can see how I have several of them, choosing just a small set is really hard. Our faculty are such dedicated teachers and amazing researchers. Adriana Zavala, in the history of art and architecture, she's currently the chair of that department. She's a world expert on Frida Kahlo. She curated a Frida Kahlo exhibit at the New York Botanic Garden. I think it was like in 2015. And she does a lot of work with artists and does art herself, in addition to being an academic as well. So now I want to show you, I think this is why you all came here, to see what are some of the initiatives, and Sunil mentioned some of them, that we are designing and we're working on to ensure that your students also thrive on an everyday basis. So Sunil mentioned the Student Success Initiative. It's part of our strategic plan in arts and sciences and is multi-pronged. That has many aspects to it. I'm going to mention just a few. I'm actually not going to talk about advising, but I'm happy to talk about advising afterwards if anyone has any questions. So career services is a big, big focus for us right now in the Student Success Initiative. We have a lot of opportunities that our students can pursue. These are just some of them that I pulled up this week. In all kinds of different areas. The Career Services Office also does a fantastic job at highlighting and spotlighting the kinds of internships that our students have access to. One of the things that we're trying to do better is to connect that information and those support systems for students as early as possible, so that as they're making decisions about what classes to take, what kind of in-classroom experiences they're interested in, they're also thinking about, what do I do during my winter break? What do I do in my summers? How do I connect my classroom teaching to my classroom learning, those learning environments? That outside of classroom is also a learning environment and key. And as Kyung has said in the past, and thinking about how to bring the learnings from outside of the classroom into the classroom again. So we're really trying to work better to integrate these, and we're actually right now hiring for an Associate Dean of Career Services that we are very excited about. In this area, I mentioned internships, experiential learning, I want to share with you some of my goals for the class of 2023 and the exit and the senior survey that students fill out as they're graduating. 89% of seniors reported that they had completed at least one internship. And of those 89%, 85 said that at least one of their internships was paid. They received a stipend through the employer or through Tufts. I would like both of these numbers, that's a goal of mine, to be as close to 100% as possible. And as part of these initiatives, we partnered with the Tufts Alumni Association, and they have already created an endowed fund to help us to move in this direction of ensuring that students' internships are paid, whether or not the employer or the organization that is welcoming them can pay them. So we have a number of stipends that we provide to students if their employer or internship site cannot give them a stipend. Curriculum transformations. This is something, if you had seen my other screen, you would have seen me mapping out what the history of our curriculum has been over the past 100 years. This is something that we spend a lot of time on, as you can imagine, having heard my history. This is something that excites me a lot. Prior to being the Dean of Arts and Sciences, I was Dean of Academic Affairs, overseeing about half of the departments in the school for 7 years, and then I was Dean of the Graduate School for 3 years. In my prior roles, these are just some of the initiatives that our office undertook. We developed a finance minor in the last 10, 11 years, and that is hugely popular. We also developed the food systems and nutrition minor with the School of Nutrition downtown, also very popular. Community health went from being a program to being a department that allowed them to start hiring tenure stream faculty. And just in the last 10 years, the geology department has changed names and focus, and it changed the requirements for their major 3 times. They went from being the geology department to being the Department of Earth and Ocean Sciences, and currently the Department of Earth and Climate Sciences. And the reason I'm highlighting this is that we're constantly looking at what do our students need? What new kinds of educational opportunities should we develop to better support their learning? And it's one of the reasons as an educator, as a scholar of education, that I enjoy working at Tufts so much, because everyone is willing to embrace change and willing to explore new ideas and partnerships, again, that best support our students' education. Right now, as part of the Arts and Sciences Strategic Plan, we're exploring curricular revisions. Depending on who you ask and how you look at it, our current requirements date to the 1970s was the last revision, tiny tweak. But basically, our curriculum looks the same that it did in 1934. And even if we continue doing that, and we provide our students with an excellent education, we need to have a very good reason. And that's what we're working on, very good reason for why their requirements are what they are, and that's what I've engaged our faculty in that process. So more to come in that area, including new programs, new majors. Financial aid, Sunil already spoke about that, and all of our initiatives in this area. A lot of this information you can also find online in terms of our commitments to scholarships, to financial aid, and to increasing our Pell-eligible students on campus. The Tufts Tuition Pact, which Sunil also shared earlier, and which got a huge round of applause. We're very, very proud of that. I wanted to end with other opportunities that we're constantly working on for our students. These are fifth-year master's programs, and these are only the ones in arts and sciences. The School of Engineering also has fifth-year programs. Fletcher has a fifth-year program. The Fletcher, our School of Law and Diplomacy. Nutrition also has a fifth-year program. We try to constantly be thinking about what could that fifth year look like if your student wanted to stay for an additional year. These are the ones that are currently being offered. This one, creative practice, we're only waiting for the trustee vote, so hopefully that will come through very soon, and that's an opportunity for our students at the SMFA. And really a lot of benefits if students decide to stay on for their master's degree here at Tufts. They get to double count 2 courses. They get to reserve 2 courses. So for a 10-course master's, that means that they already have 4 courses out of the way and paid for. Arts and Sciences also does a financial aid match. We will match their financial aid award that they had as undergraduate students, and then all these other benefits that I list. Again, we're constantly thinking about how to better prepare our students to thrive, not just at Tufts, but after Tufts as well. Oh, it's 11:02, and this is my last slide. So I've been at Tufts 30 years. I'm excited to see what the next 30 years bring us, and all of the initiatives that we're designing and working on and collaborating on are really thinking about this. How do we better prepare our students for the future? Thank you for listening.
That was so interesting, Barbara. I wanted to listen more and more and more and watch the rest of those videos, especially with one of those really wild, the really hand-waving one. I know everyone was caught that. But thank you so much. We're so lucky to have you as our dean now, as you've always been such an important part of the Tufts community. So thank you. We have a lot more going on now. In this room, we will have Professor Bhaskar Chakravorty from the Fletcher School talking about AI and the new MALD program through Fletcher. We also have signs all outside with where the other lectures are, and there will be one coming up here shortly that will also show you that. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Anyway, thank you so much. Have a great rest of the day. If you have questions, don't forget to find one of us around here. Have a great one. I don't know.